Chapter 5 Conflict. After a night of turbulent dreams, my consciousness returned to the shores of the waking world. Today is the day of the big fireworks. Who shall I bring? Go alone. Oh, that's so sad. So I'm guessing that this is basically if you dated any of the dragons long enough, you get to go with one of them. Go alone. God. While I was sure any of those I knew would agree to watch the fireworks with me if I asked, I ultimately decided to go alone, not wanting to impose on anyone if they hadn't asked me first. After making some preparations for the day, I set out to experience those fireworks I'd heard so much about. When I left my apartment, I realized just how eerily deserted the rest of the place felt. They really weren't kidding when they said everyone would watch the fireworks. I imagined there were a couple of designated places people gathered for this purpose. I had no doubt they would be crowded beyond belief. While I waited for the fireworks to start, I looked at the area around me. With no soul in sight, I realized I hadn't actually spent many nights outside, and I was reminded of the day I arrived here at my apartment in total darkness, with only Remy by my side. Soon the total stillness was broke by the sound of the first rocket ascending, its explosion painting a circular pattern in the sky. More rockets followed, their quantity and frequency is steadily increasing. As the explosion spattered my ears, a terrible realization hit me. Considering how public of an event this was and how everyone would be watching the fireworks, now would be the best time for Reza to make his move. Not only was the village basically deserted, but the sounds of the fireworks would also overshadow any gunshots, giving him as much security as he would ever have. As the portal had been repaired by the administrator, Reza would have no trouble making his getaway, and I was the only one who knew. I ran to my apartment and briefly considered calling the police as I grabbed a few things. However, I soon remembered that they were not already understaffed, but I might waste precious time if I tried to do so. I arrived at the portal just a few minutes later. I couldn't help but be glad that it was still turned off and didn't appear to have been used recently. But it meant Reza was still here, somewhere. I looked around, thinking about where he could be or if it was worth waiting for him here when I saw something out of the corner of my eye. Hesitating, I drew nearer. Oh, who's this? Oh no, Sebastian. I checked Sebastian for signs of life and found nothing. However, his body was still warm. Reza was here very recently, but he hadn't used the portal just yet. Why? Sebastian's guard post was not just for the portal itself, but also the surrounding area. Since Reza was already here, he probably had some unfinished business very close by. The underground building. The administrator had told me about the powers of the generators within. It probably hadn't been hard for Reza to guess the same, or to try stealing them from a place he knew would be even more deserted than the rest of the village was right now. He also didn't have far to go from the portal. All things considered, it was the only option that made sense to me. I could have waited for Reza here, but in the end I decided it would be better to meet him underground. If there was going to be a confrontation, I was sure I would have the advantage in a more crowded space. Even in the darkness, it was easy for me to spot the site they had unearthed the building's entry, as it was in a roped-off area that I had seen from afar before. When I entered the building, I was met by a long, illuminated hallway that was lined with doors on both sides. Since the lights were already on, Reza had to be very close. I wasn't surprised at the building still having electricity since the generators were also powering the portal. Suddenly, one of the doors opened, and out came Reza, carrying a large cardboard box. When he spotted me, he set it on the ground. Gothrix, you're here. You don't know how glad I am to see you. I've wanted to talk to you for so long. I even tried to contact you, but I couldn't with someone else tailing you the whole time. But talking can wait. Now that you're here, we've got everything. Come on, help me with this and let's get out of here. No. No? What are you talking about? I'm not doing anything until you answer a few questions. You want to talk now? Sure, why not? We've probably got a few hours if we wanted to. None of them will disturb us here. We could even get the backup generator as well after we send this one over. When did you realize that we were in the past? How did you know about the comet? I've known for a while. It's what I wanted to talk to you about when we met at the portal. How about you? I only recently found out. Looking back, it just seems so obvious to me now. I'm not sure how exactly you figured it out, but there's so many damn clues when you think about it. I mean, how could a supposedly completely different independent civilization speak the same language as us? What was this supposed to be? An alternate reality? No, it was just a different time. When was there ever anything resembling these creatures on Earth? It's not hard to make the jump from dragons to dinosaurs when some of them here look pretty damn near identical to dinosaurs we knew about. And then there's also the prehistoric fruits, the plants, and the fact that their technology level is nearly exactly the same as our own past society. But we don't even have to think that abstract. You just needed to look at the sky. The sun, the moon, even the stars are the same. Constellations change over time, of course, but you know we could account for that stuff. You could have just pointed to your PDA at the sky and it would have told you the time period, including the imminent threat of being eradicated. You could even see the meteorite in the sky and how it would change its position day after day. Are you done being condescending? I guess so. You killed those dragons, Reza. What a brilliant deduction, Sherlock. Why did you do it? Do you really need me to spell it out? I thought better of you. After I found out the truth about this place, I knew just waiting for the generators we were owed was not an option anymore. It would have taken who knows how long, but I didn't intend to stay a day longer than necessary. You wouldn't believe how hard it was for me to acquire some generators. Some of the dragons didn't go down easily. But who cares that they got back the generators I stole? With just this one, we won't need any of the others. How could you do this? How could I do this? Let me ask you this. What harm is there really in taking their generators when the whole civilization is going to be gone in a few weeks anyway? The ones I killed just died a little earlier than scheduled. Even if that creep hadn't shown up and interrupted our meeting, we wouldn't have had the time for them to make the generators for us. How about we don't let them all die? They aren't going to be extinct anytime soon if that's what you're concerned about. I paid the hatchery another visit before I came here. With the right persuasion, I think we'll have plenty of reasons to keep at least some of them around. Bodyguards, border patrols, weapons, even as pets or companions as long as we make the necessary changes. See, it's not so bad as you might think. I'm not going to just abandon them like that, only for their whole civilization to be wiped out. Get your priorities straight, Cothrix. Next, you'd rather starve because you suddenly empathize with steak, and you're not satisfied just starving by yourself. No, you're going to let all of us starve because you want to impose your morals on everyone. Since when do you think that you get to have any say in this? You know why you're here. What you're proposing is treason, and you know the consequences. Personally, I don't mind if you want to stay here, but you know I don't care about corporal punishment. Just let me through and you can do whatever you want. I can't do that, Reza. I see how it is. They've told you that they need this generator to stop the comet, huh? And now you've become their lackey. Don't tell me you've been drinking up what they've been telling you. You know that they have as much of a vested interest in this whole thing as humanity does, that I and you do, or at least used to. Do you think they wouldn't do the same if it was their families on the line instead of ours? This entire world is on the line here. They live in perfect harmony, with their perfect green energy source, with no reason for wars or conflicts, yada yada yada. We had that too, and you know what happened then? Of course you do. This is such an idiotic trope, you know. Random person meets weird natives, learns their ways, and ends up saving them. What do they need you for, huh? Maybe they're going extinct for a reason if they can't even save themselves. You know of our suffering, yet will let them have it? I don't care what happens to them, but unlike you, I was at least trying to save humanity. At any cost. We have the solution right here, and you want to get philosophical now? Don't you think we deserve it? They've had it for who knows how long. Now it's time for us. Not like this. Do you think I like it? If there was a different way, I wouldn't have spent the last few weeks doing what you didn't. We don't live in this fairy tale world of yours where there is a perfect solution to everything. You should know that. Just being here for a few weeks must have messed you up. I think I know why. You got too used to all the comforts they have here. You don't actually care if they all die back home, do you? As long as you can stay here in this perfect little world of yours, you've discarded everything and everything back home and replaced it with this. Maybe it's because you just don't have a life back home. I can even understand that a little. Of course, it would just be nice to stay here where they have everything that we don't, but being here also reminded me of everything I hate about our world that it used to be. The pettiness and the politics. Say about the solar flare what you want, but it leveled the playing field and gave people like us a chance to make a difference. For all of our efforts, what did we get? A vote that was meaningless in a sea of stupidity and lies. Now everyone has to pull their own weight. We make the rules. You, of all people, should understand. Of course they wouldn't. They haven't experienced how it is to live like we do now, to see the world burn and everyone you know die around you. And because I have, I won't let the same thing happen to them. How many do you think died back home just in the 2 weeks you've been here because we don't have the power for the hospital, huh? Do you think those victims aren't worth mentioning, or you just care about the few dragons I killed? Our city is the last bastion of civilized society in the world where nothing else is left. Maybe you've forgotten about them, but I haven't. How many of us do you think will still be there in a month, a year, or are they just a statistic to you? The same could be said for the dragons. What do you want to do? Talk me down from doing this? And then what? It's too late anyway. You think they're just going to let us go after what I've done? Fat chance. Whatever you may think, you'll find that our leaders back home agree with my course of action. Why are you telling me this? Because I expect you to join me. That's not going to happen. And you call yourself an ambassador? This generator is the only thing we need for our city to survive. How can you even argue about this? The dragons also need the generator, and I'll do what is necessary to stop you if I have to. So that makes you judge, jury, and executioner. What a wonderful set of morals you have there, Cothrix. We only need to wait until the comet has passed safely. You think you can stop the comet, and you need the generator to do that? Sure, and if your plan fails, then not only is this world gone, but we also lose any and all hope to save your own. We're all so close now. We can't risk anything by waiting for your crazy plan when back home they're dying by the minute. I will not let you. You only want to save your own two-faced hide because you don't want to face the consequences of what you did. Why are you laughing about this? Because it's a joke, it must be. I'm the one with the gun, and you thought you could just waltz in here and lecture me. Listening to you was fun and all, but the grown-ups must be getting back to work now. I mean, what are you going to do? You can't stop me now anyway. Actually, I can. I opened the cloak I was wearing to reveal an improvised bomb I made from a generator. What? When did I make that? What is this? You showed me how to do this with the little wire trap you set at the farmhouse. That wasn't intended for you. It doesn't matter. You set it for someone. You set it to kill. Where'd you even get a generator? After the police reclaimed the generators you stole, it was easy for me to get one when I was alone in the apartment, just in case. I set the bomb on the ground between us. With it and me between Rez at the exit. You would have to listen now. So what's the plan? I'll tell you what's going to happen. You leave the generator and turn yourself in. You know what? I think you're bluffing. If you set off that bomb, not only do we both die, but you destroy the generators as well, and with them any chance of saving either world. You would never do that. He pulled out his gun and pointed it at me as he slowly started closing the distance between us. What's it going to be, Cothrix? Killing all of us, or just this world? Reza was right. In reality, the bomb provided no real leverage against him. If his goal was to truly save our city back home at any cost, he would not turn himself in. Even if the threat of setting off the bomb was a real one, his best chance would be at least trying to kill me now. I turned around and started running. No! I heard gunshots. Immediately I felt the most excruciating pain I have ever experienced resonating through my arm. As I kept sprinting as fast as I could, I heard a bleeping sound that made me realize I had inadvertently activated the bomb when I was hit. Out of the bullets, Reza was not far behind me when we both scrambled toward the exit. Just as I reached the outside, the bomb went off, the explosion battering my ears as the shockwave sent me flying. I collided with the ground and immediately felt a hail of debris. I cowered, waiting for it to die down. After a few seconds, I turned around and looked at the sky, where the fireworks still painted patterns in the stars. I reached toward my injured arm, only to find it wet with blood from the bullet wound. My whole body was numb. But I could not give up now. I slowly got up, looking around the area to get some perspective of the situation. Not far from where I was, I saw Reza lying on the ground. He wasn't moving. He's not looking too good. As I got closer, I spotted the gun next to him. I won't let them find this. I took it with me, hiding it in one of my pockets as I started to make my way toward the portal with slow and uneasy steps. I was shaking and my vision was blurry. Every inch of movement felt like a new and harder chore than the last. Eventually my legs gave in and I collapsed on the ground. I resigned to my fate as I watched the night sky, illuminated by the colorful explosions of fireworks. Suddenly I was lifted off the ground and I opened my eyes. I saw the masked face of the administrator. I just could not let it happen. I had to stop him. I had to try, somehow. The administrator started moving, carrying me. Unfortunately, it seems like the generators were destroyed as well. So this is how it ends, with humanity doomed to fade into history and the dragons facing extinction? All hope is not lost. It never was. What are you going to do? I'm going to send you back in time. We'll just try again, and maybe we'll do it better next time. By now we had arrived at the portal. The administrator gently set me down before moving toward the portal's controls. You will probably forget most of what happened. The teleportation tends to do that sometimes, especially when someone is transported several times in quick succession. Maybe you'll remember a thing or two, and maybe they'll help you do better next time. Maybe. I'll see you on the other side. I heard the sound of the portal starting to do its work as the numbness and pain suddenly left my body. Things I had experienced and things I hadn't flashed crossed my mind as I was teleported. I felt free. So that's the end, huh? I guess it's true what they say. Well, let me start by saying, thanks guys so much for watching this, everyone who stuck it through to the end. I know there were times when it was very dry and boring, but we got through. I really enjoyed this game, but I want to tell you that it's not over. I think, as far as the playthrough is, I think that I'm going to be done posting videos of this game, but the game itself is not over. You can play through again. This is my first time through, but this is what I've heard, that you can play through again, and you need to do multiple playthroughs, doing different things to get different endings, basically, and the best ending can only be done when you do things in a very specific way. So I suggest everyone here go and buy this game. It's only $10 on Steam. It's a great deal. It's a great buy. I really enjoyed my time with it. Honestly, I have Horizon Zero Dawn and Zelda Breath of the Wild, and I've been playing this instead of either of those two games. So, yeah, I'd say go buy it right now, play through it, and try to see what endings you can get, and contact me on Twitter at @Cothrix, and we can talk about endings and we can discuss the game. But I think I'm gonna end it on that, and I'm gonna let you guys basically, if you buy the game, or you can look up other videos of other people playing, and just explore the game yourself. I think this was a really good taste into what the game has to offer, so it's really great. I love that time travel ending where it just loops back around. I love that in games. That makes subsequent playthroughs so meaningful. So thank you guys. I'm Cothrix, and you have a wonderful day.